listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA The Source. Good morning, everybody. Thursday, as we're moving on through here, as we're coming up on 10 minutes before the top of the 9 o'clock hour. And as we're moving on through, we've got a little interview here. Mr. Dave White of the Home Depot here. From Home Depot, we'll be discussing critical materials to help you weather any storm safely and provide the information of the tools we need. As mentioned, we've been talking a little bit about it because, we're here in Florida. Basically, the idea of this warm Atlantic, warm Gulf of Mexico, the idea of whether or not we're prepared for this 2020 hurricane season, because according to the NOAA, has predicted that 2020 will be an above-average year for hurricane activity within the Atlantic and even possibly the Gulf of Mexico, with what they're expecting to be maybe, just maybe, 13 to maybe 19 named storms possible. We've already had one with Cristobal, and the other one, I can't remember, but we've already had a couple named, even one that was prior to June 1st. So on the phone, we have Mr. Dave White. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. As we've been discussing it, amongst everything that we've been dealing with throughout 2020, from world pandemic for coronavirus and COVID-19 to the expectation of some uncertainty and everything within the laws of justice when it comes to the idea of protesting. And now we're looking at what we Floridians have to pay attention to, which is, the weather when it comes this time of year, which is hurricane season. And you're here to tell us a little bit about some of the ideas or tools that we can use to keep ourselves safe.
Absolutely. There's some real basic stuff that some people are aware of, but a lot of folks that are new to the area may really want to know. First of all, of course, you need to understand and know your evacuation routes. That's one of those things you don't want to wait till the last minute and try to figure that out. So have that in advance and really know where you need to go if you need to evacuate. The next thing that you should look at is as a communication plan. What I mean by that is if you've got friends or family that are out of state that you can keep in touch with, it's really important that people know where you are, how you're doing, if you're evacuating, where you're going and when. So have those contact numbers and have that ready to go as well. And then, as you probably know, insurance is really important. Don't make assumptions about your homeowner's insurance. A lot of homeowners' insurance doesn't include flood coverage. So check well in advance. Go ahead and talk to your insurance company. Find out what your coverage is, what you're covered and what's not covered, and you might need to adjust accordingly. And do that well before any kind of storm comes. And then, of course, you want to make sure to pull and prep anything that you need during or after the storm. Put it in a place in the home that you can get to it, especially valuables and things like that. And even create a little bit of an emergency kit using some totes or buckets or anything that you can get that you can kind of get everything together and ready to go.
Absolutely. That's all good stuff. And, like you mentioned, I think, as much as we can mention certain things, there's also some things that kind of, you overlook, especially with the distractions that we've had all year, right? And that's, part of having you on today is to talk a little bit about that. And I think one of them that's important is when you mentioned the details of your coverage when it comes to insurance. Just to talk about that a little bit, is that's easy to do what you need to do at the time that you get the insurance. But if you've just been paying the premiums every month for that year and stuff, it's easy to overlook what you might be covered for. So I think that's a huge one, is getting the initiative done to say, hey, what exactly, as we're leading into the season, are we covered with? And like you said, something like flood protection is sometimes something that's left out or is vacant from the policy that might have been there in lieu of saving you a little bit off the top. But here, come to find out that that's something that's probably big that might impact everything altogether.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of great information on all of these things too. If you visit the FEMA website, okay. They've got information on the different types of coverage that you might need, and of course, obviously talk to your insurance provider. But yeah, peace of mind is really important, like you said. This time, there's been a lot of stress, and I think hurricane season coming along. The key here is being prepared so that you feel like you've done what you can, and then you're not panicking at the last minute to try to get things together.
Right.
Even on the outside of your home, there's some really simple stuff that you can do to take care of things. For example, look around your yard and make sure that you've trimmed any hedges or trees and any dead or dying trees or limbs. things that, even if it's not a hurricane, even if it's just a bad storm, can blow and either break away or cause damage to your home. So that's some good maintenance that you should be doing anyway. Make sure your gutters are cleaned out. If you have heavy rains, that helps to protect your home. And of course, if there is a hurricane, you need to protect your windows. If you don't have hurricane shutters, half-inch plywood, marine plywood, but these are things that you should go ahead and have handy. So have it all cut, have it ready to go. Again, well before, hurricane season is going to come at some point.
Right.
So have it cut, have the fasteners and the tools you need set aside so that, again, you're not running out at the last minute really trying to react. And then, of course, what a lot of people don't think about is all the things outside in your yard that could be blown around, could cause damage, could become projectiles. So outdoor furniture, for example. Excuse me, move that inside if you can. Children's toys, play equipment, all those kinds of things. If you can, get them inside. If not, make sure to have some tie-down straps and rope handy to secure them to a secured structure so they won't be blowing around. That's really important.
Yeah.
Inside your house, some things to think about. Obviously, valuables, really important, particularly when it comes to documents. If you think about it, there's a lot of documents, legal papers that you have that are really going to be hard to replace. Put those into a waterproof, a fireproof container. Those are easy to find. And you come in and get one of those from us and put that aside. And then even put all the other tools and supplies you feel like you might need during and after a storm together in a specific spot in your home, and create an emergency kit, if you will. Get some totes or buckets, anything you need to have all that ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of good stuff there. And, with that, it's about being prepared. And like I said, it's good to mention this because I think we've had a lot of distraction within this year so far of 2020. And, if we start to, and I had a caller this morning that was talking about, oh man, with the summer coming up, I wonder what stuff we could get into this year, 2020, when it comes to summer. And at least some of the things that we can expect that happens every year is, of course, it could become tumultuous hot weather in certain areas of the country that maybe not be used to it. But then also, too, what we have down here is what we already know with the season. But like we said, with some of the distractions, it's good to reiterate some of the things to pay attention to now that we are in the season. It's not leading up to, we're in it now. And what better way to talk about it when we've actually already had a few named storms, even one that came before the official start of the hurricane season. And, with that, too, just mentioning and reiterating, like you talked about, the communication plans. Well, like I said before that, though, is having and knowing what evacuation routes you'd have, and then the communication of maybe having a plan in place that, has been communicated well enough that you guys basically have an idea of what to do next. And then from there, like we said, mention of insurance and the details of coverage, and then just getting prepared. So a lot of good stuff, my friend. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and then, even think about the inside of your home, some simple things. Turn your refrigerator temperature way down. That way, if the power does go out, it's going to extend the life of your food for as much as you can, right?
Right.
Generators, obviously, if you can, are really important to have as well. Even a small generator can power a good-sized refrigerator, which may be all that you really need. And of course, you want to have fuel and extension cords handy as well, and operate those kind of things. This is another really important tip. Safety is really key. As people are using generators, those should be operated outside, away from the home. Make sure that the exhaust doesn't aim towards the house, and that you follow all the right safety instructions. And we have some of the generators we have from Ryobi, for example, some of the larger ones actually have a carbon monoxide detector that shuts it off in case there is an exorbitant amount of carbon monoxide around.
Oh, excellent. Well, thank you for the time, Mr. David White. We appreciate it from the Home Depot. Stay safe out there, folks. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a good weekend, sir.
Okay, and just go to homedepot.com/hurricane for more info.
You got it. Thanks again. WOCA back after this.
That issue front and center on Capitol Hill yesterday as George Floyd's brother made an emotional plea to make sure that his brother did not die in vain.
You have the opportunity here today to make your names mean something